So you've got your poem outside in our contest for the Spirit of the Hills, and obviously in the poetry category. And I went and I took in order to come up with some questions for an interview. I went and I looked at your website and your profile page, and I see most of the work that you've published so far has been fiction and biography. So is poetry a new area for you, or is this something
Yes,
you've been keeping from us?
yeah, it is new. As I said, I took an online course when I was still living, when my husband was still alive and I was still living at the house in Port Hope, where we retired to. But I think Coburg is a good spot to be a poet because there are a lot of poets around.
There are.
And yeah, and I do belong to, the first thing I did when I first was widowed 3 years ago, I went to that Bermuda retreat with Kim Aubrey.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kept up with them, and Alan Breesmaster is in that group, and he's a really good poet. And a couple of the others writers do some poetry too. So it's been encouraging because I've taken stuff to the workshops, and
Yes.
That's helped me a lot, to kind of whittle away at what I'm really trying to say. When Jessica Outram had that one poetry reading through Let's Talk Books, she introduced me and said that I had a poem in every Hill Spirit anthology, which is true.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I had some haiku, I had a shape poem, and in the last one, I had a long poem that was really a poem of mourning. And yeah, Felicity and a few others noted that because they are widows too. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you have any specific influences in your poetry that?
Not, I wouldn't say specific. I think, as I said, we had a family friend who was a really good poet. And of course I studied all the dead poets. But I think discovering some good female poets had a great influence, like P.K. Page,
Mm-hmm.
Joy Kogawa. She writes poetry as well as memoirs and fiction. So it's been nice for me to discover some female poets and to get a sense of writing poetry that is more related to the female experience. Because of course, before then, most of the poets I read were like Michael Ondaatje and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the field has been dominated by mostly dead white men now. So, and how would you characterize that difference in styles between the sexes?
Well, I think women allow themselves to be more personal.
Okay.
And will pick topics that are more experiential.
Okay.
That said, I do have a good appreciation of what some men are writing and doing, because I was like the only girl in Porto High School who could do math.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so I have a little bit of I have a bit more of an ability than most women to depersonalize things and to understand the construct, the human construct. I mean, our human construct is something that we create outside of ourselves, like all of our organizations. And of course, the new generation has taken that further to race relations even.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, and fluidity in what it means to be male or female, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So that is all the questions that I have for you for our short online interview. And
Oh, good.
I'd like to thank you for participating in the contest and wish you the best of luck in your category.
Yes, well, I think most of us got our friends and families to vote. So now I'm going to have to look at who else I can get. I mean, I didn't get a lot of friends, so I'm going to have to encourage a few other friends to take an interest.
Well, I'm hoping that these interviews will get shared around past our friends and maybe generate a little bit of curiosity and some interest and some votes.
Yeah.
It has.
Well, thank you for doing this.
You're most welcome.
Yes. Well, so we'll see you again.
All right. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.